Well, this has already been another classic Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours. The weather coming from the other side of the mountain, and I'm not sure we're out of the woods yet, Creelsey, to be honest, and the drivers seem to be racing in case the weather does come. Maxime Soulé last time around was just a tenth, in fact under a tenth away from the best lap that car has turned in the race. We're seeing a lot of light colours on our timing screen. That means fast times. Temperatures are dropping as well, and the wind's dropped and turned round a wee bit as well, and all of that added together to the fact that there's 2 hours 22 minutes and 22 seconds to go. That means that nobody is saving anything now. This is where it's all out on the circuit. One more stop for some of these cars, two for others, as we're inside the last 2.5 hours. It's been a cracker, and as long as we keep going green, we're going to get somewhere close to that 312 laps and almost 2,000 kilometres.
There is rain all the way around this place, except at this place right now. It's quite remarkable. The conditions ever changing. The atmosphere is quite electric, emanating up from pit lane. Maxime Soulé, 204.31.
That he's done within a tenth, and now he's broken the car's best lap record for the race, or its best lap of the race. And by the way, just hearing from the lane that the 18 Alexander Imperatori's team in the KCMG car, they've got another 4 laps before they come in, so they are going to be pretty well set then, just to do it with one more stop from there. And that's courtesy, of course, of those laps of yellow we had for the reclaiming of the Bentley from up on the mountain.
So that takes them to 35 on this stint, which is bang on with the safety car interruption that we had, as short as it was. So they'll be fine. I'm content that that'll be 5 laps, 2 minutes a lap, so it'll be 2 hours 10, 2:08 to go in the race. They can get home on that.
Yeah.
Okay, having seen what they've done. Soulé continuing to punch on. Generally, when you start seeing drivers punch out fast sector times late in a stint, it means they're building towards a pit stop, just trying to improve their advantage as much as they can before they dive into pit lane.
But the question is, do you bring him in when you're in the window, or do you leave him out there? He's only done 26 laps since he was last in the lane, plus a little bit of yellow. I think you leave him out there, particularly with the way the weather is at the moment.
Well, while this is building to the final lap, I'd suggest we need to take 2 minutes and 3 seconds just to sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of this Bentley Continental GT3 charging around Mount Panorama.
Chase then, that's a full lap with the race leader, and just on the soft limiter as he was coming through the chase and before the braking area. 268 clicks down Conrad that time around. In the meanwhile, the 77 was in and out of the pits. Maro Engel installed in the now 7th position car as we start to understand how this is shaking out at the end of the race.
The McLarens have certainly held their head high here. The 720S making an amazing first appearance here at the Mountain. Fraser, we caught up 12 months ago actually at this race and talked about how exciting the arrival was going to be. Your take on how well the car's been running today, both of them so far?
Look, it's been really good. As you said, it's the first time the 720S. GT3's been at the Mountain here this weekend. I mean, amazing. We were on pole for in our car in the silver class. The sister pro car on the front row. I mean, how good is that for the first time here? Unfortunately, the pro cars had a bit of troubles, but they're still well inside the top 10. And I think Martin's in the car now. I think he's just taken over the lead of the silver class. So it's looking good for both cars.
I think that other car is in pit lane right now, so it looks like Ben Barnicoat's going in. What's your plans for your car? Are you going to be taking that thing home?
Yeah, so I'll jump in and take it home and be the lucky one to not only start the race, but it's an amazing opportunity to just drive around here and the rest of the car around with some big names. Was really, really cool. Obviously, being a silver, I don't do this professionally, so it was quite cool, but looking forward to bringing it home and getting a result. It's always the 59 race here. Worked extremely hard with McLaren Custom Racing to get both cars here. An amazing operation they put on. So it'll be great to reward the guys with a great result.
It's a beautiful car, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Well, it's all happening here in the Mark cars. You know, this is the 6th year that the Aussie-built Marks have been running. We have, believe it or not, the number 91 is about 100 laps ahead, which is rather incredible. But as Nick Percat and Brock Feeney just said, they just want to not really say that. They just want to keep it going smooth. The 95 and they're actually competing against each other. They've just pitted now. I thought there was a problem. The 20's gone out with Steve Owen. Nope, he just stalled the car. They're back out there. So the 20 and the 95, they're having their own competition in the market comp down here.
And also into the pit lane there, the KCMG Nissan. Now they've got within their window, we reckon, with about 2 minutes, 2 hours and 16 to go. But interestingly, Shannon telling me in my ears there, it was fuel only, no new Pirellis for the Nissan. What does that tell us?
It tells me they're very confident with their race car and double stinting a set of Pirellis. Save your new set of tyres for the final race to the flag. I don't think anyone makes the mistake of not putting new tyres on at the final pit stop after what we learned 12 months ago, where even though this is not a massive tyre degradation racetrack, a new tyre in a battle is a massive advantage. It's clearly something you want to have. It's going to be fun watching it play out. I'll give you the hot tip. Cannot wait to see it happen.
Yeah, don't even think about going anywhere. I don't care what time. I mean, it's 4:30 in the morning in the UK, and the amount of social that's coming in from all around the world where the time difference is quite substantial means that a lot of you have put a lot of investment in time into this race. This is not the time to be dozing off. Stay awake. Get that coffee in you, whatever you need to do. Go and wash your face with cold water. Whatever it is, you've got to stay awake for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes because this is building up to another cracker on the mountain. We've still got 6, 7 cars that are in with a real shout here.
The race leader Maxime Soulet's last 4 laps have been within 0.2 of a second of each other. How's that for consistency?
That's what we were talking about, you know, the variance. That's what you measure yourself. 0.2 on a lap that is, 124 seconds. Work that out as a percentage.
Shows us what they are, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is 9:12 Porsche. It's got Dirk Werner behind the wheel, 24 laps into a stint, so it's fueled further into the race than its sister car, 911, that we've already seen in pit lane. It's been a strangely quiet little day for this car. They dropped off the lead lap for a little while there, but they got it back quite early in the motor race, and they've been chipping away since then. And Dirk Werner, who won the race last year, looking strong. He's just about to, correction, he's only been in the car for 1 stint. Kaoli completed a double before this one. So I wonder if they keep Dirk Werner in the car for 1 more stint after this, or whether he jumps out the penultimate pit stop.
GT4, couple of cars with us this weekend. The brand new AMG GT4 Mercedes. You can easily see the Muller, very extensive back catalogue of races and a big CV. And he does a fine job for them. We had a bit of a problem earlier on with an air pump on the gearbox shifter that dropped them a dozen laps or so, and they've not really been able to make too much back on the Jorgensen Strong BMW, the M4 GT4, which is a little bit further up the road. Still exactly 12 laps between those two as we head towards the last 2 hours of Bathurst, 12 hours this year. I am literally rubbing my hands in excitement over the last 2 hours of the race.
I seem to remember you did that 2 hours and 12 minutes to go last year and the year before that.
It's always the same, JP, you know that.
Yeah.
The excitement is building. We've all gone to this. It's all coming down to the last pit stop and the dash to the checkered flag.
You tend not to walk away from this place every year going, gee, I wish that was more exciting.
Yes, if only more stuff could have happened.
Correct.
Yeah, that's things that you never hear. Things you never hear walking away from the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours. That's a page. That's a Facebook page in itself.
Where's the day gone as well? It's over 2 hours to go. Mathieu Jaminet is behind the wheel of car 911. At the moment, in our eyes, the last of the contenders. There are 8 cars on the lead lap. Incidentally, in the history books of this race, the last 2 years, we've seen 7 cars finish on the lead lap, which is the most ever. So if we can get 8 home, that would be even better. And again, just reinforces, we've been talking it up for 6 months now, to be fair, but the level of competition and the depth of competition between brands just proves that once, time and time again, how deep and competitive this race has got.
And bear in mind that we've lost, to all intents and purposes, all 3 of the fancied Audi, the Valvoline cars, which should have been in the mix at the front of that. You know, we could have been even more excited. Is that possible? I'm not sure.
We might have had 2 Nissans in the hunt as
Well,
well.
that's true.
Unfortunately, you know, lost the 35 very, very early on.
Here's Jackson Evans in pit lane. He's just completed a 35-lap stint, so good economy from car 12. He's battling Brenton Grove at the moment for class honours in Pro-Am. They're a little bit out of sequence in their strategy. Grove's been in the car for 25 laps, so they're 10 laps to the different. Final driver change going on. May not be the final one. They're likely to be one more, given the way they've been rotating their drivers. So Romain Dumas did a double before this. Calvert Jones was in the car for 35 laps prior to that. David did quite a lot of laps early at the start of the race. I'd suggest he's got one more short stint to go, and his driver time requirement will be ticked off, and they'll plug Romain in for the flying finish of this motor race. And I reckon they've done the same with Ben Barker up at Grove Racing as well. All the Porsches located up the same end of pit lane. That sets up a pretty tasty little fight to the flag, doesn't it?
Maxi Boog in the lane from 2nd position, and he was obviously having that really close fight with Maxi Goertz before the stop. The 999 car coming in for its penultimate pause then in proceedings. And well, it'll be interesting to see whether they bolt another driver in. I'm expecting that to be the case. Yeah, and confirmed. So Edoardo Liberati continues on. He'll move up to 4th place in a minute. Dirk Werner now running 3rd in the 912 Porsche here at the Mountain.
Counting down towards the last 2 hours. 28 seconds Soulé has pulled on the field. That's an extraordinary run since we went back to green flag racing, and a testament not just to him and the rest of the team, but also to the preparation of that Bentley Continental GT. They really have maximised that new version of the car. The battle for 2nd position is hotting up behind them.
And a theme we're seeing in this final round of stop, at least for the outright cars that are on the lead lap in the mix for this race, is that they're not putting new tyres on at the moment. I reckon they're all saving what is probably their final set for the last pit stop. I don't see how you do this race without putting new tyres on, or the best set of tyres you've got left out of the 12 you're allocated before the race wedding. I think you've got to put them on at the final stint.
Well, we saw it last year, didn't we? It's such a difference.
You might have track position, but you cannot race if you don't have really good rubber. We saw that on that last restart with Maxi Goetz in car 888. He had nothing to battle with, and it was only some pretty resolute defence from the 999 car that kept him in front, 77 for that as well.
Steve Wells from New Zealand having a heat wave down there as well, asking about that KCMG. Listen, does that need an extra stop to anyone else? We think not, Steve. We think that has just about got into the window to do it on one more stop. And that's assuming, of course, that it stays green all the way at the end. Any lapse of full course yellow behind the Mercedes AMG safety car, that will help it out. Yeah, it is a little more thirsty, but not a massive amount. 3 or 4 laps only. Now, up out the mountain straight again to New South Wales, Griffin's Bend. This is another little battle pack beginning to build. Cars in here that aren't at the sharp end of the field, but are still trying to make ground up. Here comes the 59. That is the leading silver car in 9th position.
Yeah, Dirk Werner stuck in behind, would like to get past with some alacrity if possible, because he's only half a second or so behind Maxi Goetz in the battle for 2nd and 3rd place. Those cars will be in pit lane reasonably close to each other. The Porsche should go a couple of laps longer based on its economy so far today. We're expecting the Bentley anytime now, pretty much from this moment onwards. Very much due for a stop. A couple of laps of safety car. They've gone 33 laps on this stint. The Nissan went 35 and has been somewhere around the mark of the Bentley all day. So I'd say 2 laps and we'll see car 7, the race leader, in the pit lane.
And that'll leave them with pretty much 2 hours to go. And then the question will be, when do you take your last pit stop? Do you go deep and make the last pit stop a little bit shorter in terms of the fuel fill, or do you take your last pit stop first at the immediate opening of your pit window, just in case you get caught on the wrong side of a Mercedes AMG safety car? And that will be the numbers that are being crunched at the moment by brains immeasurably larger than ours.
Martin Kodrich is going to go for this up the inside to get the lap back. So the 888 car, Maxi Goetz, may well be 2nd on the road. 59 car's a silver entry, remember, but it's still a GT3 car. And he was getting balked by the 888, so we don't want to waste any more time, because remember, leading the class, but the other car's not very far away. Meanwhile, Dirk Werner also in the queue, and then Earl Bamber. But the number 1 car's not on the same lap as the 912, but it's not going to stop him trying to get a place, nevertheless.
Not even slightly. From a lap time point of view, the pace has really dropped off for Maxi Goetz in the last couple of laps. He's been in the 6s, low 7s, so really struggling for pace aboard car 888. Not far away from a stop, though. We'll see them in the lane very soon.
Maxi Goetz just asked me, do I have a lot of dirt on my face? The answer is yes. You look like you've been wheeling an open wheeler out there right now. That was a lot of fun. How hard was that last stint?
It was quite hard, to be honest, because after I went into the car, we dropped quite far back in the safety car period, and I'm sure I tried to push as much as I can to catch the tailback. Then we had a really good pit stop as well. Came out, I guess, in P4. Yeah, and then it was like a bit of a Mercedes AMG Cup out there in the beginning of the stint. And the problem was that on one point we started to get some temperature issues. So I was always going offset to the cars in front. And but then I couldn't overtake. So like 2-3 laps I stayed in the slipstream, tried to make it stick, which worked well. And then I tried to pull a gap, put everything into it. I mean, I don't have a lot to give, so...
When I picked you up in the safety car the other day, you said, who's 888? Well, now you know. That was your old buddy, Maxi Goetz. That was a good battle. Well done.
Now they know.
And the leader is in the pit lane. So within the few laps we were talking about, Maxime Soulé brings car number 7 in. There'll be a change of driver. And we'll send it back in the race lead. 31 seconds to the good. of Maxi Goetz. He's about to cross the control line now and go through in car 888 with a Porsche stuck up behind the rear wing as well. And interestingly, Kodrick's just pitted the 59 McLaren. Fuel going in.
I think that was Jordan Pepper getting in.
They're going for tyres. That's interesting. These are the first of the leading group of cars. So the 30-second advantage that this team have built up, they're going to burn some of it by putting tyres on the car in a green flag pit stop. Don't mind this. Just mix things up a little bit. So they're going to have a tyre advantage, and it might mean that when they get to the final stop, they can make that shorter by going fuel only in the final pit stop if they need to find some track position.
I want to check that. It was Gudon that got in. And thank you to Shea for pointing that out. So they've taken extra time to put tyres on that. They look new. They look new to me. Very lightly used Pirellis that were going on.
They weren't brand new, they were roaded with a couple of laps, and that was about it. And as we talk about that, car 888 gets some traffic across the top of the mountain and throws away a valuable bit of lap time as it builds up towards a pit stop. And they have to throw tyres at this car now, surely, as well. So that relative position first to second is going to remain somewhere about the same. And I think Bentley would have known that too. The gain out of this will be Liberati in the KCMG team because they didn't put tyres on that. So they're going to get a little bit. So with the pit stop completed, remember, 999 stopped earlier. That's now the position between the two of them relative to each other. It's about 10 seconds.
From Maxi Goetz's point of view, when you're sideways in the Audi cutting and you're sideways, I think a couple of laps later at the Maguire's elbow, he's really hoping he can get to the end of this and then be given some new Pirellis. More change of position. Dirk Werner's got ahead, and here comes El Bamba as well. Not on the same lap, remember, so that's not for position, but it will mean that he can follow the 912 and probably the 222. Audi's going to get by as well, certainly going to give it a good old go, but moving to the middle of the track, Maxi Goetz to defend that. Oh, it's very tight indeed. Dirk Werner, though, to the lead of the race in the dark green 912.
And that's Marcus Winkelhock, who is in the 222, back in the 17th position overall, 11th in class after the wars for that team. Huge slide from the man Filter's car, who just has not got the grip. It's got nowhere near the apex. Dirk Werner said, well, if you're going to leave the door open that far, I might as well drive through it. Thanks very much indeed. And that is very reminiscent, isn't it, guys, of what Jake Dennis was fighting with at the end of the race last year when he had a Porsche up his tailpipes as well, JP.
Like I say, the car's been broadside into the cutting, which has been very hairy indeed, and through the elbow. He's doing so well on those tyres.
Maxime Soulet, fresh out of the 7, and I mean that. You don't look as if you've been bashing out those lap times super consistently, lap after lap. You're still ready to get in again, but your day is done, isn't it?
Yeah, my day is done. So, yeah, the team asked me to push, so I pushed, and the car was just, I mean, to go this fast on this place with Bentley, I mean, it's incredible. I had a smile over the top of the mountain every lap. I love this place, really.
Well, hopefully it loves you too. There's just a little over 2 hours to go, so Jordan's going to be in for the end, correct?
I don't really know what's the plan now. Maybe Jordan or Jules is going to do a double because I think he's still fresh. So I don't know. I haven't had time to speak to them, but the car runs like a dream. So I hope it stays like that.
Thanks for talking to us first.
Thank you very much.
Inside the last 2 hours, fellas. All right, it's go time.
It's been go time since 5:45 a.m.
All right,
as far as I'm concerned.
All right,
this
it's
race.
go time with an exclamation mark after it. Okay, we've ramped it up a little bit more.
Now, I've been digging, and our pit lane crew have responded magnificently as they have all day. Here's some news. We saw Jules Gounon come out behind Raffaele Marciello in the 999. A little bit wondering why there was that massive difference. Well, the Bentley, of course, took tyres. Can confirm the 999 did not. There were no new tyres put on the Gruppa M racing car. So there's a rubber advantage for the race or former race leader in car number 7.
Yeah, but just remind ourselves as well that All of those cars ahead are a pit stop, due a pit stop to match the one that the Bentley has taken, and they're all ready to come in. Dirk Verne has done 32 laps, 33 for the 888 of Maxi Goetz. 999, well, that's the different one. That's Rafa, and that's the one that didn't take the tyres. And then Gunon, Liberati.
They didn't take tyres either, remember?
No, they did not.
In the Nissan.
They only 9 laps into the stint.
Pace is still okay in that car as well. They're a minute off the lead, so they gave up a bit of time in that stop, but they're only 12 seconds behind Jules Gunon, so they're still very much in the mixture here.
Just point as well that Ben Barnicoat's just did a 2:04.6 in the McLaren number 60 in 6th position. There's still pace in that car.
Yeah, definitely. They're pacing all of the top 8 cars on the lead lap of the race. They're all very much in this. Of that I have no doubt. It's only 1.9 seconds first to second. We're watching the race leader. It's car 912. It's not far away from making its 8th visit to pit lane for the day. And its penultimate stop. It won't be this lap though. This will be 33 in the books.
Yeah, but look what's happening behind. 2 takers for the AMG pit lane entry, and it includes Maxi Goetz in 2nd position.
And some much-needed, fresh, brand-new Pirelli tyres going on to car 888, and it will be Shane Van Gisbergen gearing up. Now, Jeremy Winkup's standing at the back of the garage, and currently he is in his shorts and T-shirt, so it looks like this is going to be SVG's day. Double stint coming to the finish for SVG.
Okay, with 2 hours on the clock, under 2 hours, that's fine. That is within the right amount of driving time. SVG folds himself into the driver's seat. Fuel going in, can't do anything else other than install the driver at this point. Then we'll find out how quickly they can change those 4 Pirelli tyres. 222 in as well, Marcus Finkelhoff. What a shame that they dropped the time earlier on. That car still with the fastest lap of the race, 2:03.9. There goes Raffaele Marciello through and past.
Poor old Maxi Goetz has spent 33 laps on old Pirellis with the car sliding around, no drive, no traction.
Gunon's gone through as well there, Rich.
Yeah, no lateral grip, and Shane's going to go out and look like a hero because he's going to have brand new tyres. It's a tough life as a racing car driver sometimes. That's the art of endurance racing. But that was a pretty stout stint from Maxi there. Lost quite a bit of time towards the end there, but they've invested in new tyres now. So like Jules Gunon in the Bentley, they're 1 stop to go and they've got new tyres on their car now. They're just logging these contenders as they come up. The next question for me will be, do Porsche put tyres on now, or do they play by the fact that the 911's always been pretty good on its rubber and wait until that final pit stop so they can get some more track position with this stop?
How long does it take to change 4 tyres?
30 seconds?
Yeah, so you've got to kind of make 2 seconds. Oh, you've only got to make a second a lap difference,
Oh, is that
haven't you, to
all?
make it back? Yeah, that's all.
Hey, it's funny you asked that question. Actually, time Callum took the Triple Eight mechanics to do that just then. It was between 14 and 15 seconds to change 4 tyres.
Right.
Maxi Goetz has just got out of the car, puffing. It's been a hot day's work. That was a great stint. Congratulations on putting that together. What was the grip level like? It looked pretty slippy.
There was no grip at all. I was in a double stint tire, and as you can see, I was P1 after the restart, or P2. And in the end, the last 10 laps were really incredible, hard for me to keep the momentum high and keep the concentration high. The car was really edgy to drive. I just no grip, and maybe you could see it on the television as well. It was fighting all through the corner, from braking till the apex, and on the exit I was always in an oversteer. So I guess this was one of my hardest stints in my whole entire life.
I saw you chuck the seat insert away. Were you frustrated or just hot?
No, it's not hot, but I'm really not frustrated. You know, it's hard to judge where I am and which performance it was, because all cars around had new tires, or most of them, I guess. So it was really fighting with a weapon which was not loaded.
No chance of a double stint on these tyres for Shane. Have to throw greens on at the last stop.
Yeah, I think it's this tire goes through the race. If nothing happens, so if a safety car will come, then for sure. But we have to see, what we are able to do now.
Thanks, Max.
A little bit of insight there from Maxi Goetz.
Yeah.
The heck of a stint.
Quite something. That's the toughest stint of my life, because he's been around the block for a fair few years now, and some very treacherous stints, particularly overnight at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So yeah, a He-Man stint, some heavy lifting, and he's now handed the car over to SVG.
It's another cracking stint, isn't it, by a Porsche. Dirk Werner coming round to complete another lap.
Yeah, no sign of pitting either, so this will be 35 laps on the stint. They've gone longer today. There was some safety car in this as well, so may yet continue onwards.
I wonder if we'll see a 40-lap stint here. Aston Martin at the S's at the top of the hill.
Jake Dennis behind the wheel, just having a bit of a crack at the end of the motor race.
What a difference a year makes, gents, eh? Jake Dennis at the front of the field last year, battling for the win. Now with the new car, sits down in 16th overall, 10th in class for the number 76 R Motorsport machine.
Yeah, not the debut that Aston Martin would have liked for the new AMR GT3. It's the first time we've seen that car at Mount Panorama, moving away from the traditional V12 to twin-turbo V8 power. They were fast in qualifying. R Motorsport were very, very decent. Drive 59 had a pretty solid weekend. Building to that, Andrew Watson behind the wheel of car 159 in 15th place at the moment.
And the 59 car in 10th position for the silver. That's the top Aston Martin.
Well, no, it's a McLaren.
Sorry, that is a McLaren. Yeah, I've got my 59s the wrong way around. We knew we had to have it. Hindhoff does it before the end of the race. 45 seconds, but Dirk Werner owes us a pit stop. So Dirk Werner heading towards another lap completed. Might just squeeze 40 laps out of this one. I think it'll depend on his pace, but it's been good. Doesn't seem to be dropping off as much as the cars around him. So 14 seconds, Chad says, for a pit stop. Let's say it's 15. If you can get a second a lap of a lap time out of that, then 15 laps you've made it up, half a second, then 30 laps you've made it up.
New tyres aren't worth a second a lap, that's the problem. It's just hasn't been that bigger a game today, and this is the 95 entry that was on fire early, had an enormous repair job. Young Bailey Hall there, Jeff Taunton's been driving it, Brad Schumacher, local from Kelso Way, and Warren Luff, of course, who dived out of the car when it was on fire. They changed the engine remarkably. They're a long way down the order, but they've just had another issue, plume of smoke from this car. So it looks to me, it was shown as Bailey Hall behind the wheel. They were third in the Invitational class, 103 laps behind the class leader, but obviously having been through a fair few things today, that may well be the end of their day for real this time.
Let's have a look at the time differences as we come towards the end of the lap. Raffaele Marciello did not take new Pirelli tyres as Dirk Werner's gone through again, by the way. Both of the cars exceptionally close to match in terms of the fastest lap they have done. 2:05 for Marciello last time around, 2:05.2. That's solid, absolutely solid. Shogun will come across the line in 4 laps time and a 4:4. So that's 0.8 of a second.
So I'm speaking utter nonsense before where I said a new tyre isn't worth a second a lap. The Bentley's on new tyres, 999's not. At the moment, it is a second a lap, isn't it? So it's holding that margin in. So I cheerfully retract the rubbish I was talking before.
It's just a question of
there's not enough race left to make up 30 seconds. That's the problem, I don't think.
Not 30 seconds, but if it's only 15...
I got the maths you were talking about.
Yeah. If it's only 15, is it worth it?
But in the 6 laps since Jules Gounon has jumped in, the margin after that pit stop was 12 seconds. It's now 7.3. So it's almost halved in 6 laps.
He's not far away. So if he's doing 7 tenths, 8 tenths, that means it's going to take you 20 laps to make up 14, 15 seconds. 20, 22 laps. And if there's 31 laps left in the race when you do it, you've got half a chance. The other thing is, if you've got better tyres on and there's a restart, Rich, then then that's a different game, isn't it?
Well, and Maxi Goetz said it as well when he was talking to Chad, that if you get a safety car late, then definitely you do it, 100%, because it's a free pit stop. 8 cars on the lead lap, and you might be able to carve your way through. So it's just another variable that plays into it here at Mount Panorama, as is always the case. Porsche continues to lead. We await the stop for car 912. The margin 44.5 seconds. What a race this has been so far.
Yeah, plenty of action, some of it between stablemates in terms of the manufacturers side by side. The two AMGs going up Audi Mountain Straight and the Nissan GTR taking advantage. Almost got them both. Had to drop in behind. The battles continue. Different tyre strategies and a little bit of a love tap as well. And finally, the pass was made down into the KW suspension chase. Those two guys kept us entertained for quite some time.
Yeah, the two Maxis, Book and Gertz. Gertz, just about the hardest stint of his career so far, he said, on those age-old Pirelli tyres. Got brand new ones now for the new Pilot SVG. This was a pit stop, the latest one for the number 7 to hand the Bentley over to Jules Gounon. And these are the tyres going on to the 888 car then for Shane van Gisbergen. Shane may well be strapped into that car for the final 2 stints. Another fire for the 95 Mark II car. Might well bring race done for that machine after they did an engine change in the middle portion of the race.
Here's how it stands then. The 912 last stopped an hour and a half ago, near enough. Given the way things are going with a bit of yellow flag, and they are due a pit stop anytime soon. They still lead it. Fraser Ross is behind the wheel of the leading silver, the 59 McLaren. In 9th overall, Brendan Grove leads Pro-Am in the number 4. That's 10th position for that Porsche team. Aaron Cameron in 13th position for the Invitational class, and 22nd, it's still the BMW GT4 class leader with Brett Straub at the wheel.
Over 2,100 k's of coastline, famous Bondi Beach amongst them, and it's lined with them. Some of the best in the world enjoy swimming, surfing, fishing and boating, and all kinds of swimming, in fact, all along the east coast of this state. Well worth a visit. Plonk yourself down on the beach with a refreshing beverage and enjoy the sights and the sounds. No beaches within the vicinity of Mount Panorama at the moment, but a great car race building up at the moment. We wait for Porsche to make their pit stop and find out how this race is going to play out.
Well, the number 95 just can't catch a break today. As you said, an engine change. They've gone through it all. But maybe it's Warren Luff that's just too hot to handle, because the 2 fires have happened when he's behind the wheel. Luffy, explain yourself.
Well, I watched Talladega Nights about 2 weeks ago, so maybe I'm just channeling the spirit of Ricky Bobby. I don't know, like it was, I think it was the same problem we had before. It's a relief valve in the overflow. It was only a small fire that time, but yeah, look, we're just going to it over, and I think we just need to now work out how many more laps we need to do to be classified as a finisher. So it's disappointing, but we've done an engine change. We've been fighting hard today, so yeah, we need to get the car over the line.
Oh, good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Exactly what we were talking about early on. You change what your target is as the race goes on. They want to be classified as a finisher. They'll get that car back out, and good on them for that.
Yeah, never give up attitude, and that's, part of endurance racing. You set yourself a challenge, you enter a class that, in that case, it's 4 evenly matched cars, and then a question of getting it to the end and seeing where you can finish. But getting classified may still get a trophy.
Let's look ahead about an hour and 3/4, an hour and 44 minutes to the end of the race. The race time is at 43 minutes to the hour, 43 minutes past the hour rather, plus 1 lap. That is the scheduled race time. It is a time certain race. So before lots of you start in with the social using the hashtag B12HR, that is what you're looking at. So 43 minutes past the hour plus 1 lap as the leader goes through.
For many drivers that we're witnessing ply their trade up and down and around this mountain at the moment, they're seasoned professionals. They've done tens of thousands of high-level international motorsport. For other drivers, like this young man, right at the start of his motorsport career, Brock Feedy, great opportunity for you to tackle Mount Panorama. You missed out last year in the 86 because you were too young. Now you finally get to crack some Ks here.
Yeah, it's been awesome, what a spectacle this has been this weekend. You know, wake up 3:30 in the morning, come to the racetrack, and, you know, you're sitting on the grid and it's pitch black. So it's been a great day so far. We're in the final few hours now. So, you know, it's just been really good to get a lot of laps in today. You know, just keep building up on that consistency. And, you know, I'm just loving every moment.
Liking the track?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's everything that I've dreamed of and a bit more. So, you know, watched this, you know, since I was a young kid, and, you know, just wanted to end up here racing here one day. And, you know, to race in the 12-hour international event's been unbelievable.
Well, your dad raced superbikes here in the 80s, so you got all the right genes. And that was pretty crazy stuff back in those days.
Yeah, I know. I can't really believe how they did that. You know, Nan always goes, she worries about me racing cars around here. But I go, your son raced motorbikes around here. So, no, it's been great, you know, just loving this place.
You put the suit back on and you got to get back in. You're pretty tight now on this next stint, whether you do or don't.
Yeah, it's going to be tight on fuel at the end. So Nick's going to jump in now, we believe, and in the next coming laps. And then if something happens towards the end of that stint, I'll jump back in for a couple of laps.
I'll get out of your way just in case. Have a good run, and congratulations on making your debut here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And we'll see you in the Super 2 car later in the year. Well done, mate.
Leading Porsche, thanks Neil, drives into pit lane. Deep burner
40 laps.
Stops, 40 laps. So a couple of laps of safety car in there, but it's bang on their window for the race so far. And it's a long tour down to pit exit where Absolute Racing are located. I want to know if they put tyres on this car or if they wait till later on.
It's 2 50-minute stints now if they want to. If you go by the Nürburgring tactics, which we've seen in the past from Porsche, Johnny, they might split this up into 2 50-minute stints rather than running a long stint and a very short stint.
Yeah, it simplifies matters, doesn't it? And I'm sure they will have factored in a potential
getting in.
Yes, the Austrian driver with all his recent World Endurance Championship experience. Just depends if there's a late caution where that leaves them if they do 2 even stints to the finish.
I think they push it as long as they possibly can.
I think you do.
Go as deep into the motor race as you can, but if you get an opportunity with an hour to go within your fuel window with a safety car, then you absolutely take it.
And they've got the biggest window of anybody. That's where it will help them at the end of the race. The new leader's gone through. Rafa Marciello's gone through. So has Jules Gunon in the Bentley, just done that car's best lap of the race again.
They're putting tyres on. New tyres on 9.12 for this run to the flag. Yeah, great pace by Gunon. He's got the margin down to Marciello to 5.5 seconds.
And Barnicourt's got ahead of the Barani as they went through, so that's the McLaren coming on strong at the end as well. So now it's AMG from Bentley, from McLaren, from the 18 Nissan. That's your top 4, and there's less than half a minute between them. Yeah, into the fray goes the 912.
It's building nicely, isn't it? So they've just rolled out in front of car 888, Shane Van Gisbergen. He'll have hot tyres, he'll have slightly less fuel. See if the Kiwi can make any impact and work his way into top 6. But it's starting to play out. The key contenders just about all with the stop to go.
Here's the pass down at the KW suspension. Chase. That was fairly easily done. And again, this is sensible driving. The Barati knew he didn't have anything for Ben Barnicourt. Didn't move late. Fair driving by both. That's what you call racing room, isn't it, Quilsey?
We're riding on board with Earl Bamber. He's a champion race car driver in one-make Porsche racing. He's won the Le Mans 24-hour on a couple of occasions, and he's an FIA World Endurance Champion. He hails from New Zealand. He's one of the great exports from this part of the world. And earlier in the weekend, Neil Crompton sat down with the Kiwi champ.
The 911, the longest-serving Porsche model at the last race for this iteration of it, wins the 2019 Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours.
Well, we're back to the scene of the crime. Wind back the clock 12 months and a huge moment for you as a team owner to pull off a very big win. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's awesome to be back here at Bathurst. So last year in a different role, obviously as team owner. For us, it was a special moment to come here. You know, it's one of the toughest races in the world. Many people come here for years on years and never get a victory. And for us to come as a new young team and get a win, and not only that, a first win for Porsche here at the mountain was something really special.
We're a bit unaccustomed to seeing you in that role as a team owner because of your driving success that's now been alive and well for many years.
Yeah, you know, for me, a couple of years ago, my brother and myself, we decided that we should start a racing team in Asia and base it up there. And we're still learning and we're still winging it, but it's something awesome to do with my brother. Obviously this weekend when I'm in the driving seat, he's actually been team manager this weekend and stepping up into that role, which he's doing a great job. So it's a fantastic adventure. It's also awesome to have the support of Porsche, to be able to come represent them at big races like this is something special for myself personally.
Just looking across to the Maguire's car and looking at the names across the top, there's one quite familiar to us all. So you've got Craig joining Lawrence and yourself. So Lowndes brings a multitude of experience to this party, and somebody that obviously is great to have in your team in terms of what he knows about unlocking performance at this place.
Craig's been fantastic. He's brought a lot of knowledge to ourselves, all those little trade secrets that he knows. So from that side, it's been fantastic. Obviously, it's nice to have him step into the Porsche family as well. I know he's got some aspirations that he wants to try go to Le Mans, and obviously we do a lot of Le Mans stuff as well, so it's sort of a nice way to integrate him into that stuff.
You've come very close to success here in the past. You're looking forward to this weekend, and can you close the deal?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've come close before. I've had a bit of success in the Class B, but been on the podium in Class A, but never the top step. And for Lawrence and myself, we're a driving partner all around the world. We follow each other, and this is one of our last big ones that we need to tick off on the list. Is this one's missing in the CV, and. Then obviously you've got Craig, who's won so many times here, it's unbelievable. So hopefully we can, I said a little bit of Lounsey magic this weekend.
Sprinkle the Stardust.
Exactly, sprinkle the Stardust on car one.
Well, that car's turning some of its best times of the race with Earl Bamber behind the wheel, 11th position and just a couple of laps or so off the lead. Whether or not, does it come or does it leave us alone? We've been blessed at the moment that it's gone either side of us. It's been raining all around. Kelso's got a thunderstorm at the moment, had lots of social on that. Earl Bamber 2:04, 4:3:03. That car's fastest lap of the race as we were hearing that insightful interview.
Well, taking a peek at the radar, there's still weather all the way around us. It's pretty wet in Orange at the moment to the south around Cowra, the run to Jenolan, and then over Katoomba and Lithgow to the east. But at the moment, Bathurst has avoided it, in particular where we are. So there's an hour and a half to go in the motor race. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon.
Scotty Turner says coming down hard with rain in Dubbo as well. So it is literally all around us. Marciello leads, Raffaele Marciello leads, but he's been closed down to under 4 seconds by the charging Gounon on new Pirellis.
Part of the fact that he leads is that Dirk Werner brought the number 912 Absolute Racing Porsche into the pit lane. And Dirk, you've given everything you can to win this race again, try and defend your championship out there. Do you think the Prynan can hold down the fort?
Well, he's quick. He doesn't know the track, so it will be a good experience for him. We know in the end it's a sprint to the finish line, and everybody's pushing hard, but he's used to this from the sprint racing he did last year. So I did everything I can. I'm pretty exhausted now, to get up that early and then do so much driving in that kind of heat. It's pretty tough.
Sounds like there's rain on the way, and rain is Porsche weather.
So just again, there's some confusion on social at the moment. The time we are looking for to end the race, 5:43, and 1 lap after that for the leader. So as soon as it gets to 5:43, it's 1 lap further for the leader, and that makes it a time certain race. So keep that in your mind. That's just about an hour and a half away.
What's this squabble happening? Well, it's Nissan v AMG. Oh, a bit of hip and shoulder. The old 77 goes down the inside. That's Engel on Liberati. We've seen 2 overtakes on the Nissan in the last 15 minutes, and I don't think that car's been passed at any point for the remainder of the day with either of its drivers on board.
No grip for the Nissan. Struggling out of the corners and into the corners.
Gee, that was a big move from Maro Engel, wasn't it? To have the confidence to go the full send down at Murray's. What a move. He's up to 4th place now. Mercedes AMG lead the way. The margin's only 2.3 seconds. We've got a motor race on our hands.
Do you know, you can have all the drama in the world here on the mountain, and somehow there's still something else to talk about. And this year, again, it's the weather, it's the speculation whether it'll come or not, and honestly, nobody knows. And you might be saying, well, why are you talking about it? Because the teams will be talking about it. They are getting in now, inside, in fact, they are inside the area for one more stop. What you don't want to do is make the stop at the wrong time, then have to come back in again for a change of tyres to wet. So that's another reason why you'll push people as long as you can, Crailsey, in terms of the stints. That may be just where the Porsche number 912 of Thomas Preining has a little advantage. They can stay out on the track a little bit longer and therefore make a later decision about whether you need wet weather tyres or not.
Yeah, of the contenders, the number 18 Nissan is the least flexible because they're due to stop first. So theirs will be the first pit stop to get to the end of the motor race sometime in the next 25 minutes, you'd think, in this race, given their fuel economy so far today. But you're right, the Porsche's got the flexibility. They can afford to circulate. They're only 3 laps into a stint. So they're going to go very, very deep towards the end of this motor race. Their final stop maybe in the final half an hour.
You get a bit of yellow flag, they may not have to stop at all. We've seen them stretch to 40 laps with just, what was that, 3 safety car laps from the MG safety car? We could be back where we thought we might be before the red flag stoppage last year, with Porsche going, yeah, come on, we'll do this.
You'd roll the dice. You'd have to roll the dice, surely. It's Mount Panorama, it's Bathurst. You've got to have a massive go at winning this motor race, and if it means taking a risk, so be it. Oh, look at this. So the wind has swung around again. The temperature's actually gone up. It dropped down into the high 20s about an hour ago, and it's gone back up to 35 degrees. And it's very, very blustery at the top of Mount Panorama. These folk are having a bit of a trouble keeping the easy up. I think they're not going to provide much protection now anyway, I wouldn't have thought. So
look at the dust blowing up again as well, Crailsey. That's the other issue in terms of the visibility up on the top. And by the way, thank you very much to everybody who supported by coming to the race again this year. Haven't had the crowd numbers yet, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't close to or a new record. Certainly from early on in the week, people were arriving, and there's been lots to keep people interested. Loads of people in the National Motor Museum when Johnny and I popped over there earlier in the week, clearly enjoying the new exhibit. And plenty going on in Bathurst as well this weekend with a motorcycle show yesterday down in downtown Bathurst and the classic car show as well today. So it's all becoming a bit of an automotive themed weekend for Bathurst for the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours. So Marciello now just with 2.5 seconds on the Bentley. Play the Jaws music, it's closing in. Well, if you're just joining us, number one, where have you been all day? Do you have a note from your mother to say you've been late? Because this has been an absolute cracker. The wind's getting up, adding even more spice to what has been already an exceptional race. We're inside the last 90 minutes, and the weather is getting more and more extreme.
A really, truly great Kiwi export story is this young driver, Jackson Evans. We were just talking off camera a couple of moments ago. First of all, congratulations on your stellar career. We saw your career Cup here in Australia. You made it to Porsche Super Cup. You're a factory driver, and it's an unbelievable yarn. Well done.
Thanks very much. I mean, it's a massive credit to Porsche. I mean, they provide us with this pyramid that we can climb, and I mean, starting here in Australian Career Cup was awesome. So to win that championship and then make the move to Europe has been pretty special, and I'm looking forward to going back this year.
Tell us how your day's tracking.
Yeah, I mean, today's been it's been hot, obviously. I mean, for everyone, but I mean, we're chipping away at it. We're sticking to our program and just trying to make it to the end at the moment. So no, it's been good. CJ did an awesome job in the car. I mean, super fast times for an AM driver and someone that doesn't drive very often. So I mean, really good job by him, and also Romain. He's out there at the moment, and hopefully he'll stay until the end. But yeah, we're chipping away. P2 at the moment in class.
He's got an amazing pedigree as well. I've seen some extraordinary performances from him over the years. Are you going to jump back in now? You're going to leave Romain in the car?
I mean, to be honest, I'd like to leave him in the car. I mean, he's the most experienced out of us by a long way. And I mean, looking at the weather coming this way, it could be a safer option. But no, it's been great to drive alongside him and learn as much as I can. Thank you.
Well, how good is the motorsport spirit? Bentley, number 8. Didn't have the best day, but we're turning lemons into lemonade. We are selling off the parts of number 8, and our motorsport fans, they're auctioning them off. They're buying them for hundreds of dollars or even a bit, and it's all going to the Lions Disaster Relief for the fireys and those affected by the bushfire. Hundreds of dollars are being raised now by these spare parts just outside the Bentley garage. So I just love it. This is the motorsport spirit.
And don't forget every lap that's turned by the full season entrants in the Intercontinental GT Championship. There's $5 going into the fund as well. A couple of moments ago, number 12 Porsche down the outside. And I'll see you tomorrow at 1, apparently, was the hand signal there.
Romain Dumas displeased, apparently. In car 12, he's in his own fight. There's still a battle going on there for the Pro-Am victory. We'll continue to track that for you. Well done, Bentley. That is just such an amazing thing. And ever since the remarkable scale of devastation happened on the east coast of New South Wales, the reaction from the international community in particular has been outstanding, and teams and series reaching out on how they can support it. Bathurst12hour.com.au/bushfires is the link. You can donate there. It goes directly to the Lions Club Foundation. They are the event's official event charity. All funds directly towards bushfire relief and supporting those who have lost items, lost houses, material possessions and things like that, who have been affected by, and wildlife as well. So it's a great cause. Well done, Bentley. That is an outstanding campaign from that team. And as was mentioned, the Intercontinental GT Challenge, $5 per lap per car entered. Last time I looked, it was well over 20,000 Australian being donated to the cause, and that was about 60 laps ago, so it'll be more now. There's more on the way with some raffles and auctions and things to come after the event, fire suits. So keep an eye on that website, bathurst12hour.com.au/bushfires.
Just looking at the predictor on the strategy here. If we stay green, there are 38 or 39 laps to go, which will get us pretty close to the record lap distance. And that, of course, is almost doable by a Porsche. But you'll not want to come in right now. Normally, you'd want to make your last pit stop as soon as you can in case there's any issues and you get an AMG safety car. But with the unpredictability of the weather, I reckon you've got to stay out and run as long as you possibly can.
Oh, no doubt you run as long as you possibly can. If there's a safety car at the end, you stop. Yeah, wow, it's good. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lead. It's 1.3 seconds. So after the pit stop 17 laps ago, it was 12 seconds. So it's been dragged back. Jules Gounon is catching the race leader. He'd very much like to get by before the final round of stops.
Well, how exciting is this? The final time down in the Pirelli pit bunker. And we've got something very special to tell the story about what's coming up. Let's go now to our final race strategy update. And how cool is this? We can explore the best bit of the race, the final hour. Who are the contenders and how's it looking? We have 8 cars on the lead lap. Your current leader at the moment is the beautiful 999 AMG, and it's Rafael Marciello in the car at the moment. He's going to double stint to the finish. The big question is, what do all of these cars have up their sleeve in terms of tyres? Remember, it's about 15 seconds longer in the pit stop if you take on a fresh set of rubber. And of course, at the moment, it's shaping up as a showdown between this car. And guys, I can tell you at the moment, it looks like Jules Gounon is going to double stint this car as well. So let's firstly, with the guys in the commentary box, explore this one-on-one duo. How do we think this is going to play out? Who takes tyres at that next stop?
Well, if you got them, you tear them.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think 999 definitely takes them, given they're already midway through a double stint on a set of Pirellis. Do you agree?
I do agree, and I think that they've got such a handy buffer back to this car that they can both afford to do it. Now, Alvaro Peret has been really quick early in the session, but it is going to be Tom Blomqvist to finish off this drive at the moment. I could see him down there with his helmet on. He's ready to go. They're P3 and a genuine chance at a podium, as is this car. Never, ever right off Murrow Angle here at the mountain when we're heading into the final hour. This car, what an absolute surprise packet we've seen from these guys. And despite the fact that De Oliveira has quite a few minutes up his sleeve, it's actually going to be Alexander Imperatori, and I've actually asked the team down there who's going to bring this car home. But guys, that's not all we've got inside the top 8. You want to throw a few more names at me? Let's explore who's going to finish.
Well, I sure do. I'd like to know who's in the Triple Eight car at the end. We think that's SVG double stinting to the end, isn't it?
Win Cup done, Goats done, SVG, and particularly with what I can see on the other side of that mountain, the sky is almost black up there. If we do get rain, even though that these guys are sitting sort of outside the top 5 at the moment, 100% a contender if the rain comes down. We know in Australia how good Shane Van Gisbergen is.
Go one place further back, 9-11, that's got Matthew Jaminet behind, but Matty Campbell's got some time in that car, and if new set of tyres and Matty Campbell has a kind of feel for something that I remember from last year.
Yeah, it's shaping up that way. The last 2 cars inside the lead lap at the moment are both Porsches, and this is an unusual one. We asked Dirk Werner earlier in the day if he was going to be finishing. He said yes, but the way that the safety cars worked out, it's put it all on Thomas Preining, a young guy, a huge ask if it does in fact rain. And of course, as you mentioned, Jaminet done, Patrick Pillay, great work earlier, especially in the dark, done, leaving it all up to Matt Campbell, who does have wet weather experience here back in his Carrera Cup days. He's going to have to draw on all of that, particularly if he's up against a guy like Shane Van Gisbergen. But as it stands at the moment, it is the 999 AMG car, and right behind him, car 7, which is the Bentley, and then a little bit of a buffer back to the field. I think it's the guys who are 3rd and beyond who need to roll the dice if it stays dry and if they want to make up that time.
Well, you realise that we've just said that all of the top 7 are going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone gets a medal here at Bathurst this year. By the way, we're about 7 laps away from that last round of pit stops coming our way.
Chad, one more very quickly. Slide that screen 1 position back from where it was to car 912. The question I've got with them, they're 8 laps into a stint. There's an hour and 21 to go. If you're the team manager at Absolute Racing and you get a brief safety car, do you stay out, get some track position while everyone else dives in for their final round of stops, and brave running out of juice at the end?
They're well within their, I guess you'd say, rule book to be able to do it, because Thomas Preining would not exceed his maximum stint time or his maximum driving time to be able to do it. It's all about maximum fuel time, how much fuel is in the tank, and of course it would need to stay dry for that strategy to work.
Well, there you go. Everyone's a contender. Everyone's going to have a shot at getting on the podium, which is just tremendous. And right now we've got a fight for the lead. Thanks to Chad down in the Pirelli pit bunker. That's been amazing. What a great asset to have to unfold the complex race strategies of a long-distance endurance race like this.
There's an additional point to the 911 and 912. They're both Absolute Racing, so they can split their strategy, bring one in, leave one out, because they're both going to be close on fuel.
I agree with that, although they're already split. They're 21 laps, 22 laps to the difference on strategy. They've naturally been separated as the day has gone on. Ultimately, one of those 2 cars is going to have some success today. The other one will be a little bit further down the order, depending on which way the dice rolls.
Well, Pillay, if he keeps, Jaminet, if he keeps this going, he's got 31 laps on it now. He can stop any time now and get to the end. Really, it's a very interesting one for those two, and it won't matter. And the rest of the team at Absolute they'll be pushing that. A little bit of yellow now could turn this upside down, and then who comes in? I really hope they don't all just come in and say let's fight it out. Although that would be great. I'd love to see someone roll the dice further down the field. And I think Chad's spot on. Outside the top 3. You might as well give it a go.
Yeah, it's worth the risk because, if you go outside of the box when you're thinking about strategy, then sometimes that can definitely get you to lock into a win or at the very least a podium. Because everyone's thinking, let's play it safe. And if you've got nothing to lose, then often the challenging strategy is the one that comes off.
What about this battle for the lead? 7/10 of a second. It may as well just be a couple of car lengths. And Jules Gounon has now caught Raffaele Marciello, who has significantly more worn tyres. This has just happened behind Mount Panorama. It's teasing us. It's so close, and yet it's not here.
Don't forget.
I'm not even convinced I want it to rain yet.
No, I know. We're not pushing that. The area needs rain. There's no doubt about that. Does the motor race need rain? I've often said about the series, just add water for excitement. I don't think we need too much more excitement here. Jules Gounon with newer Pirellis, a stint newer Pirellis. He's dragged back from what was just on 20 seconds at the start of this stint. And it looks like the leader, Rafa Marciello, is just starting to move around a little bit more down into Liqui Moly Murray's corner.
A bit ragged on the exit of the KW suspension chase. Just kissed the white line at the turning point to get into Murray's corner. So this is Raffaele Marciello. We saw 12 months ago. Huge energy in the car while he's driving, and in particular, it dances around. It's like it's light on its feet. It's always got some aggression about it. He really gets the elbows out. He's great fun to watch as a racing car driver. And I love Jules Gounon flashing the lights as if that is going to fluster Raffaele, but why not? You've got to flash a button there. Push it, use all of your tools. I tell you what, if he gets within a couple of car lengths out of the elbow, the straight line performance of that Bentley is going to be very hard to resist on the run down Conrod Straight. The move at the chase will be on.
Coming down at an hour and 17 minutes to go. This is the battle for the lead, and Ben Barnacle has just put the best lap of the McLaren number 60s day in a 2:04.3. This is getting closer. It's coming back together as we come towards the last set of pit stops. Johnny Palmer, Richard Creel and me, John Hindhaugh, in the booth, and we're trying to work out who's got the advantage. I'm sure you're crunching numbers back at home as well, wherever you are here in Australia, New Zealand, or around the world. Huge international audience in the UK. You mad fools have stayed up all night, but why would you go to bed now? 28 minutes past 5 in the morning, and this is all beginning to come down to the money laps.
There's the Gruppa M Motorsport bunker. That's a familiar sight. Much of the same faces and pensive looks from 12 months ago, because that car found itself in the battle for the lead of this motor race on that February day, which was another extraordinary chapter in the history of this race. Ben Barnacote continues to go quickly. He's in third place, building up to the final pit stop for the McLaren. Interestingly enough, Grove Racing's brought the number 4 car in from the lead in Pro-Am, their 12th outright. But the reason I circled that in my notes is that that's probably the first of the real final stops.
Correct.
Hour and 15 to go. They'll be good to go to the end. So that's a bit of a guideline. It's a bit of a tick in the box that if they're confident they can get to the end, the guys at the front in Same Machinery will be too.
As far as fuel's concerned for the front two runners, Raffaele Marciello has got probably another 6 or 7 laps to go, so that potentially could be 12 to 14 minutes. Jules Gounon is 3 laps better off in terms of his fuel. Now, whether that works tactically and strategically with what's going on, well, that's a different matter, but that's probably as far as they could go, and that would take them somewhere near an hour remaining, and they can easily go from there at full reach.
Here's a theory I'll just throw out there and see where it lands. The Bentley's now caught behind this Mercedes AMG. The AMG's not going to be fast enough to pull him out. When you get to that marker, when you're good to go to the end, do you get him out of the traffic, pit him, fuel into the end, tyres if you feel like that's what you're going to do, and then get him out in clean air, punch out some quick laps and get the undercut?
He's losing his advantage now with those newer Pirellis.
Yeah, I agree. But it's also about where he's going to re-emerge. Now, the teams can calculate that. So if they can find a gap, they'll try and locate that for the Bentley.
This is the first of the big names to blink. With an hour and 14 to go in the race. This will be right on the edge of the economy of the Nissan GTR, which has never gone better than 31 or 32 laps on a green flag run today.
However, they brought that car in after 28 laps, so they did have a bit more to go, but I wonder if that was tyre limited rather than fuel limited.
Well, they didn't put tyres on that car at the last stop, so they're definitely putting new rubber on for the end. So this is great. This is the start of the final pit stop sequence. In 20 minutes, give or take 1 or 2 cars, and I'm circling that number 912 Porsche, which is significantly longer on fuel than everybody else. We're going to know where this race stands.
Patrick Pele is now on his 5th lap. That'll do another couple in the 911. Thomas Preining only 12 laps into his stint, so he's got another probably 22, 23, maybe even 24 laps. It's going to be a really interesting run. The battle for the lead coming up to visit New South Wales corner. Now heading up the hill. Out goes the remaining Nissan. Only one to start the race, Alex Imperatori behind the wheel. Expect fireworks from that car, and a new set of Pirellis on. Means he'll have the grip. How close is he on fuel? Third place, Ben Barnicoat just set that car's fastest lap behind him. Maro Engels just set that car's fastest lap. The McLaren not out of this, and it's extremely quick on the parts of the circuit that are important, particularly if you've got track position or you're trying to pass someone, i.e. Johnny coming down the hill.
Yeah, well, the end of the lap is where you want to be good, isn't it? Towards the flag, so definitely you can pick a few off maybe into the KW Suspensions chase, where it looks so strong heading through the speed trap there at Ben Barnicoat, just about the fastest driver of the three, although Alvaro Parente is extremely experienced around this place. Barnicoat started the motor race in the 60 car, looked dominant, got the car to the race lead, now running in third and trying to hunt down these two cars.
Aha! So Mashi Jaminet brings 911 into pit lane with an hour and 12 to go. That's in the Porsche's window easily. So they're going to be okay to the end of the motor race. And they've worked to a strategy, they've worked to a number there, because that was a 34 lap stint. So yeah, that was right on the very edge of their fuel window.
Didn't see whether Jaminet got out and Matty Campbell got in.
Almost certainly.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a new set of Pirellis for the 911 as well as the leaders go by. And here comes the...
John, I think they'd be right if they didn't put Matt Campbell in that car for the end of the race.
Here comes the other El Bamba Motorsport car. This is the 12, Romain Dumas, behind the wheel of that car, leading the Pro-Am at the moment, as out goes the 911.
Ben Barnicoat.
There you go. Campbell.
Ben Barnicoat's just set the fastest lap of the race in that there McLaren. It's just looming into view as the Porsche exits pit lane. 2:03.90. Fastest lap on lap 2:80.
He's got maybe 1 or 2 laps to go in that before its last pit stop. And how's he fixed for driver time? Will they take Ben out and throw someone else at it? Or will they leave Ben in, who's absolutely in the groove at the moment for 59 Racing?
So he's done a 4-1, a 4-0, then a 4-1 and then a 3-9 in his last 3 laps. Certainly building up to a stint, to a stop at this point.
And he's done that, by the way, without doing any fastest sectors.
Yeah, no, it's an all-round car, the McLaren. We learnt that in the shootout yesterday with Alvaro Parente. Maro Engels going very, very quickly as well. Personal best sector time for car 77. So it's all building to this final pit stop to the leaders. How cool is this?
Now, they're not sure if they're going to throw tyres at the 77 yet. I did ask Darryl Young, who's a former driver and winner of this race and teammate of it.